the select board meeting to open the select board meeting for September 28th, 2022 with a roll call.
Going present.
Smith present.
Cranston. All right, and anybody that's able, stand with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have our minutes, and I see that they have been amended through small changes that Kama has made. Has everybody had a chance to read them?
Yes.
Because they're going to be a test.
I'd like to move to approve the minutes of the Sterling Select Board of September 14th, 2022 as amended.
I second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Coin eye.
Smith aye.
Cranston, aye. Okay, and now I'd like to have a motion to open our public hearing for earth removal for Article 63 of the town bylaws for Amarillo and Sons for 89 Leominster Road, Sterling, Mass, Parcel 1085-50. Property is located in the light industrial zoning district, and this hearing has been continued from August 3rd and August 31st. And again, they have requested to, well, first we'll open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Kilcoyne aye.
Smith aye.
Cranston, aye. They have requested to move this meeting again, or this hearing again, to a date certain, which will be October 26th at 6:35.
Okay.
Any comments?
None.
All of those in favor of moving the meeting to October 26th at 6:35?
Kilcoyne aye.
I think we have to, somebody has to make that motion.
No,
So moved.
but he already said that.
Seconded.
Discussion. Kilcoyne aye.
Smith aye.
So it's been moved.
So we'll move it to October 26th at 6:35.
Yeah. We just stay in the public hearing for the second.
I would like to, but that's scheduled for 6:45, and we cannot do the public hearing before the scheduled time.
Okay.
Okay, I'd love to move you up, but
Totally fine.
So do we have to exit the public? I guess we do.
We have to
I
exit
move
the
to
public.
exit the public hearing at this time.
Seconded.
all those in favor?
Kilcoyne aye.
Smith aye.
Cranston, aye. One thing you'll learn is you'll have our names down pat by the end of this.
And it's us.
There'll be a test. Okay. So next on our agenda are the Cultural Council appointments, and I do know that Mr. Boyle will not be able to come in for us to talk to him. I don't think it's necessary. He has put in a volunteer application. He's a children's book author, and he's a stay-at-home dad, and he has the time to give to the Cultural Council. Richard, do you have anything to add for Mr. Boyle?
No.
No? Okay.
I'm good with the application, the appointment.
So am I.
All right. Entertain a motion to appoint Mr. Boyle, Sean Boyle,
Yeah,
to the Cultural Council?
Move to appoint Sean Boyle to the Cultural Council for a term effective when immediately, I
Yeah.
think.
Yes.
Okay.
Seconded.
Okay. All those in favor?
Kilcoyne aye.
Smith aye.
Cranston, aye. We also have, was Julia thinking of coming in, Kama?
I didn't hear anything back.
Okay. We also have a volunteer application again for the Cultural Council from Julia Meehan. And Julia is interested. She's actually a farmer at Davis Farmland, and she has experience with children, computers, social media, culinary arts, and more social media. Okay, so Julia has expressed an interest. She is still a student, but she does have time to give to the Cultural Council when needed. Do you know anything about this, Roseanne? And, and what are your thoughts? Do you want to share thoughts?
Both these candidates are very enthusiastic about joining the Cultural Council. And
Excuse me, could you just,
Roseanne Mapp,
and your connection with the Cultural Council?
I'm chairperson of the Cultural Council. Sorry.
In case we just, the people
I
thought I
just-
just
yeah,
took somebody
right.
random. What do you know?
Both of these people bring something different to the table. Sean Boyle is a writer. He does children's books.
Yeah.
And that's an avenue that we haven't engaged with before. And Julia Meehan is a younger person, and she brings a different perspective as well. So I think collectively that it would be a really good mix.
Okay. So we've already passed Sean along. So now I would entertain a motion to appoint Julia Donnelly Meehan to the Cultural Council.
Yes, I'll move that we appoint Julia Donnerty Meehan to the Cultural Council, effective immediately.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Bill Klein, aye.
Smith, aye.
France and I. All right, so we still have a few minutes before we have to open the public meeting, so maybe Mr. Aponte would like to take the time to give us an update on what he's been up to lately. To the podium.
Sure, sure.
Podium, yep.
Introduce yourself.
Scott Aponte, I'm with Cava Properties, who now owns the Sterling Inn. And I'm here to answer some questions that the board and, the town of Sterling may have about what is happening at the Sterling Inn. Currently, what we've tried to do is we try to see, well, let me just give you some facts. The fact the Sterling Inn will not be torn down. That will not happen. We're going to leave it, the structure, and renovate. The goal right now, our thought was to do a restaurant if we could, but because this town is septic, that is going to limit us on the return on investment. So our goal now is doing a mixed-use building, and that is going to be commercial with residential, more than likely condominiums with some commercial retail space. So, but the Sterling Inn will not look like it did in its heyday. We're actually going to refurbish the inn to the 1907 version of what the Sterling Inn looks like, more colonial looking building. So right now it's littered with asbestos. We got quotes from 300 to 600,000 just to remove the asbestos out of the building. So this is a long process. It's we were hoping we were going to be able to possibly break ground in the fall, but that is not going to be realistic. So we're hoping spring of 2023 to be able to get this project moving forward. Hopefully submit plans for the construction and what it's going to look like and everything that goes along with that. And there are going to be condos there. That's really what's going to take place. It's either you could do a 200-seat restaurant because of septic and what's allowed, or a mixed use and return on investment in our group. We bought the Sterling Inn for it to be an investment for us, so there will be condos and commercial. Any questions?
David?
I just want to thank you for coming in and sharing this information. As you know, it's a pretty hot topic in town.
Yes, I'm sure it is.
I appreciate the fact that you took time out of your busy schedule to do this.
problem, no problem.
Scott, on the commercial end of it, are you talking small shops? People are asking what type of mixed use it's going to be.
I mean, it really is, we don't have a determination. All we know is we'll have probably 2,000 square feet of commercial space. Code says you can either do condos or residential behind or above the structure. So the first floor will be commercial and probably about 2,000 square feet. And I mean, Sterling, I mean, my favorite restaurant is the Brick. I was just there. So I'm always here. We have clients, we have friends. I go to church at Hope Chapel. I think the town needs a restaurant. I think it needs a vibrant, higher end restaurant. I think it can afford, that was our goal, but because of septic, we are actually forced into doing something else. So if I could have done a restaurant and the condominiums, I would have done that. But, the structure won't be torn down. It actually is a pretty solid structure. And other than it, being dilapidated and some of the wood structures falling in, it's pretty solid. I mean, it's a solid building. But why there's a Swiss-looking structure in the middle of Sterling and why it was, built that way, it's interesting. But we're going to actually refurbish it to something different, and it will be beautiful. It's not going to be, we're not just going to slap paint on it. It's actually going to get a complete facelift and a real quality of what we're going to do with the exterior, the interior. I mean, it's going to be something that the town will be proud that it's there. Let's just say that. And we also own, 3.7 acres across the street, so we're going to be developing that as well. And it's something that is going to take millions of dollars to do, not hundreds of thousands. It's going to take millions of dollars that we're going to put into this town. So we're hoping, we have ideas of how to help the town as well. The facades on some of these buildings downtown need a facelift. So we're hoping that along with what we do, we're hoping that can be incorporated into what happens as we're doing these renovations. But it's an undertaking just to get it to this point. I know there are a lot of people that were asking what's going on, and you've been inundated with calls. But it takes a lot of planning. When you're investing this amount of money into something, you want it to, turn out to be right for everybody. I mean, my question to the town, to the board, is there a need for over 55 community in this town? That's one of the things that I need to understand, because the septic, if you're actually building an over 55 community, then it doesn't tax the septic as much. So we could actually put more, depending on the actual, what we can do for the building structure. We could actually have more condos. And I want to understand, it's twofold. What's good for the company? I mean, what's good for the town of Sterling, and what's good for the investment group that's doing this? And so I want to investigate a few different avenues before we just throw something out there. Because if we do condominiums, that can be, if we do it and we allow any age group to purchase, then that could, that could tax, I don't want to say tax the schools. I mean, there's not going to be hundreds of them, that's for sure. Maybe 20 condos.
Well, if you even get a chance to take a gander at the master plan, which was just completed a few months ago, one of the hot topics in that is 55 or better or senior housing.
Mm-hmm.
And affordable. So, there is that need. We have a lot of homes that people can't get out of they want to downsize, but they can't
Right.
because there's nothing available in town for that. So it's something to think about. I do want to thank you for trying to keep the outside of the building looking halfway decent, you know, getting somebody to go over there and mow and cut and so on and so forth. I mean, even that looks better at this
Right.
point. And then I would suggest having a bake sale so you can raise a few funds for that asbestos abatement.
Oh, my goodness, yeah, that was pretty shocking.
Yes.
Pretty shocking. I mean, that's, I don't know if anybody had ever put any time and effort into that, but that's like the number one thing, right? So,
Now it is,
Right.
you know, no
Has
matter
to be
what,
done.
whenever you take an old building like that.
right, even if we were gonna level the building,
Oh, yeah,
that's without getting rid of the rubble.
Yeah.
That's just the asbestos.
exactly.
So, and it's nothing to fool around with, so. You know, so there's a lot of planning involved, there's so much detail that's involved, and, I mean, you know, sitting on what we've invested already for a year doesn't make a lot of sense. So, we gotta do it right in order for it to pay it out.
Well, I appreciate that, and, you know, I think people in general know that these things are not easy.
Right.
You know, you can do the pie in the sky thing and say, oh yeah, we're right in there, and we're gonna get it done, but I think everybody knew that you definitely would have the asbestos in there if nothing else. Asbestos, mold, all of those things.
Oh, yeah, it's all in there.
Yeah, I know.
And we had a couple break-ins already
Yeah,
in there, yeah. It's, I don't know what they were stealing, but,
unfortunately not the asbestos in the mold.
yeah, right. That's for sure.
All right, well, thank you very much, Scott, for
You're
coming
welcome.
in.
Thank you.
You know, hopefully that answers a few people's questions. You can sit back and wait and, you know, at least you could put up some Christmas lights, though.
Well, we do have electric now over there, so yeah,
There
we
you go,
probably
a
could.
few Christmas lights.
There you
maybe,
go, that's a
yeah.
good idea.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
All right, thanks a lot,
Yeah.
Scott. Okay,
Have a good night.
Yeah, good night.
and then we have another public hearing scheduled for 6:45, and I would have take a motion to open that public hearing for the Chapter 138 of the NGL, and it's a transfer of a license to Raj Patel, the Hunament Corporation, for a transfer of a package store all alcohol license from Candace Wong Corp., Sterling Deli and Convenience for Suite 2 of 50 Leominster Road.
So moved in those words.
Second.
A lot of words.
No application.
A lot of words.
I'm not-
Okay, all of those in favor?
Coin eye.
Smith, aye.
Krantz and I.
That's what I want.
All right. Good evening and thank you for coming.
Thank you. My name is Matthew Porter. I'm the attorney for Hanuman Corporation. Along with me tonight is Rajendra Kumar Patel. Mr. Patel is the license manager, proposed license manager, as well as principal of Hanuman Corporation. So before the board, this is the transfer of the all-alcohol license, which relates to the sale of Sterling Deli and Chinese Takeout. Mr. Patel, along with the other owner, are very experienced license operators. They have other locations across the state. Everybody is tip certified. Certainly they understand the obligations and the responsibilities that come along with operating under the sale of alcohol. There's no major anticipated changes to the business whatsoever, no changes to the hour, the structure. The seller is actually staying on, will continue to be an employee of the store, so the deli will continue. I think from an outward perspective, it'll be a very seamless transition to the new ownership. There is a pledge of license to Rockland Trust, so Rockland Trust is helping to finance the transaction, so we'd also be asking the board to approve the pledge of that license. But with that, I can certainly answer any questions the board may have, and Mr. Patel can as well.
David?
Hours of operation are going to remain the same?
Same, no changes.
That's it?
Yeah,
John?
Pretty seamless, it seems like. So,
Pretty straightforward.
yeah.
I would say no if you weren't going to keep Candace.
Lucky for us, though.
Yeah, she is she is a plus to our community in general.
Yeah, no doubt about it. These guys understand that as well.
Sterling Deli.
Absolutely.
And I'm just joking, I wouldn't say no on that basis.
I understand, but yes, we're happy to have her along.
Okay. Well, I don't have any problems with the transfer.
No, I don't either.
Anybody else have any questions? Bill? Mr. King?
No.
They'll still pay taxes, don't you worry. Okay. So I would entertain a motion to approve this transfer.
Move to approve the transfer for the Sterling Deli to Raj Patel. Again, effective, I don't know what the date is on this one. Is it effective immediately or is this?
Well, yeah, two things. One, it'll head off to the ABCC now, so
Right.
once you guys approve it, it'll go to the state. They've been 4 to 6 weeks, give or take, so at that point. it'll come back. And then just additionally, when you move to approve the transfer, the ABCC will require that you move to approve the pledge as well. So if we could just add that to the motion, that would be excellent. Thank you.
Conditioned on the ABC approval of the license, I guess is the proper way to word it.
Well, and add, and you want us to put that all in the same motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and also approve the pledge that they have made.
Yeah, that's written in the transfer document.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Kilcoyne, aye.
Smith, aye.
Grant's not.
Thank you so much for your time.
Welcome,
Have a great
good
night.
luck, we'll see you for
Good luck.
sure.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Now I'd entertain a motion to exit this 6:45 PM public hearing.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Kilcoyne, aye.
Smith, aye.
Grant's and I. All right. And then we're gonna skip number 6, which was approval of policy for the step changes. Bill would like a little bit more time on that.
If you have any questions, feel free to ask, but I figure we'll get another meeting. We had a department meeting yesterday morning. Yesterday morning? Yeah, yesterday morning. Make sure there's, I don't have any other feedback right now, but if there is any, I'll update it as needed. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Well, it'll give us a chance to
Digest it some more.
actually, yeah, look at it. So, all right, so moving on, approval of early voting hours, and we need to sign that warrant. Yeah, I think it's, you have the warrant, right? Yes. And voting hours. This is the warrant for the 2022 state elections. So on Tuesday, the 8th day of November, from 7 to 10? 7 to 8. Okay, so we're going back to regular hours for this? Because it's a,
State election, yeah.
State
7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
and the early voting? When does that, I don't see where it starts in here. So the early voting would just be.
It begins on the 22nd, but I thought there was a... Oh.
Starts Saturday, second from 8 to 2.
Okay, so Saturday, October 2nd, 8 to 2, and then it's basically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, from 10 to 3. Same on Thursday, October 27th, and then Saturday, 8 to 2, on the 29th, the 31st, 8 to 5, Tuesday, November 1st, 8 to 5, Wednesday, November 2nd, 8 to 5, 8 to 5 on that Thursday and Friday, or that Thursday, November 3rd, and Friday, November 4th, 8 to noon. And this will all be posted on the website as well for the town clerk's office. they'll all be here at the electric building. And election room 112.
For the early voting.
Big time voting will be at the school. Have we already
There is no school in session that day.
All right, and I think that's statewide. They close the, not statewide, but
For
for
this-
the Wachusett district. All the schools are closed for this particular election. So,
Go with this.
all right, so just make a motion to approve the warrant for the state elections, as well as the timing for early voting.
I'll make that motion. We approve the warrant for the 2022 town election and the voting hours as presented by the town clerk, Kathy Farrell.
Seconded.
Any further discussion?
None.
Other than everybody should vote. Your vote does count, whether you believe it or not. All those in favor?
Joe Coyne, aye.
Smith, aye.
Grants and I. Okay, and then we have a request from the Village Green Preschool to approve the road closure for the Spooky Walk on October 24th from 4 to 8. The road closure is actually Meeting House.
Yeah.
From church to the library, basically. Okay.
Yeah, that's the same as it has been in the past. So I'll move we approve the road closure request for the Spooky Walk on October 24th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m.
I will second that.
Any further discussion? This is the Halloween walk that they sponsor every year. Everybody's invited. You congregate down at the fire station and you walk through the downtown, and most of the vendors in the center of town participate. If you gentlemen would like to dress up and give out candy, I'll buy the candy.
It's a lot of fun. Kids love it. Oh, for good weather.
What? We already did the dunk tank. We want to see them,
Well,
scare the bejesus
my-
out of the children.
my question would be that if John and I are going to dress up, are you going to dress down?
I have to tell you, I will be there. I will be serving pizza to the little urchins. I can't dress down more than I do already. My overall, I am already committed to working this event.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Sure you do. Okay. So, all those in favor?
Smith, aye.
France and I. Just shouldn't say that out loud. Okay, and while we're speaking of street closures, just a couple of notes. Art in the Park is this Saturday?
October
And-
1st, yeah.
Yeah, October 1st. And they have asked that we close down Cross Street. We did it last year for them also. So we can send a note to Sean, the police station, and say that we are fine with it, he's fine with it, so, or are we fine with it? Do you have a problem with it? No. Dare you?
I don't have one.
I don't see any major disruption to traffic.
Well, I'll have to say this Saturday downtown is going to be very busy.
Busy, yes.
You've got the street market, you've got the art in the park, which is also going to include the 1835. You've got a band over at the 1835 playing that day, for this whole event. And also, at the same time, the First Church has asked if they could block a few parking spaces in front of the church, which is on Meeting House, of course, because it's also the community lunch, first Saturday for a community lunch. So before I even asked you gentlemen, said I didn't see a problem with it because I knew you wouldn't see a problem with it. And it's really just blocking off the spaces with a couple of cones for those people that would have a hard time walking from this parking lot to the church for lunch.
Seems like a good safety precaution.
Well, if you have a problem with it, let me know.
I think that's why, we should be using our town common facilities for such.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be an exciting downtown, I think, this weekend. I
Things are
love to see
happening in
all-
Sterling.
I know. Yes, they are. So with that, how about if we go over to our esteemed town administrator? What, we don't need a vote? No, you're going to be next. I thought we'd hear from Bill first.
All set?
Go ahead.
Okay. So, although we have some people applying to some committees over the last couple meetings, there are still some vacancies on various boards and committees as usual. Volunteers are always welcomed. It looks like in the next couple weeks, I know they've been up on Osgood doing some of the drainage there. In the next couple weeks, they should be starting the paving middle of October for certain areas. I'll get back to the other one here. Attended the Public Works Expo with David. Talked about some of the co-op opportunities on one of the days. Ryan and I are working on the risk grant through Maya for some signage for them. Matt is currently taking some of the information I gave him and putting in the ADA grant hopefully for the beach bathroom to offset some of those costs to free up some of the DCR money that we received for the beach and drainage work there. Going through some of the data that MRPC gave on employment stuff in town and trying to update it for them for just planning purposes, and attended through some of the fire districts the legislative breakfast this morning. It appears that the playground at the school should be installed or start installing beginning of next week. We thought it would be today, but I pushed back a little bit. Everything got delivered last week. Skip a couple things. We have pretty much all bid docs ready for this building. I've got to follow up on a couple things, but it looks like we may be able to get it out to bid soon. Obviously, probably not going to get done this winter, before this winter, but hopefully that lines whatever vendor up to get us as soon as decent weather hits next year. Those are the big things there. Probably in the next month or two, we should be hearing on the grant that we had applied for the underground infrastructure to support the downtown project. It's usually an October or November announcement, so we'll see if we get that. If not, then I still recommend that we try and figure out how to do that to get that engineering for stormwater and the water mains done to, get the project done right if we're going to do it. So those would be the big things from me. We held a department meeting yesterday, and a few of us went to the candidates event held by the chamber last Thursday at the Chalk Sit-In.
Some of us have to work, so we couldn't make it. Just saying.
Good saying.
And how about your interaction with the Finance Committee last night?
We did have our first joint finance and capital meeting last night, trying to get the calendar together, which there is a draft in front of you somewhere.
Yeah.
Pretty similar to last year. Might want to move a couple things around. I know I've moved up some of the due dates from the departments to get things rolling a little sooner, and probably also have them come in and explain whatever capital items are requested. But that's looking good, and hopefully we can get things moving sooner than later. And then also in your packet, is that stuff from Sandman in there, the PFAS stuff? I don't have it.
Joe, how'd that meeting go last night?
It went very well. Do I need to stand up?
No, you don't have to stand up, Joe. You can sit there.
It went very well. We had all our members, new members there last night, most in person, some not. And we had a good session where we reviewed the whole budget process and trying to get it moving sooner than later. Last year we were a little late on that, and this year there's a desire on Chris's part to get it all moved up. I'd like to get it moved up enough to avoid the holidays if we can.
Yeah. It might be a little difficult, but yeah. So, and you're just seeing this calendar also, but it was part of your proposal last night. Answer?
To Joe or Bill, I'm just curious if, do you think we'll be identifying in the capital budget this year going forward for all the departments, knowing we have a fair amount of ARPA money, you know, to use on hand? Will the capital budget committee be identifying some of the ARPA, maybe, in other words, some of the projects maybe for ARPA as opposed to coming out of capital? Or will we be leaving the ARPA funds completely to the side going into this budget season?
We did not discuss that specific topic last night. It's a good topic to have a discussion around. I guess I, as a FinCom and capital budget member, would like to know from the select board how you would like to treat the ARPA money before we, I guess, dive in and just allocate all the capital out of that.
And thinking about it, I mean, we talked about it last year a little bit when it came in. How should we prioritize it? But of course, we didn't have it until earlier this year. But it seems now, with the budget season coming up, maybe now's the time to, you know, if the fire department, police, DPW, I mean, you know, maybe they should be, maybe you should, I mean, if we all agree that maybe we should go through Bill to have them identify some projects that they think can be taken out of ARPA instead of out of the capital or stabilization fund. Again, I don't know if it's the right way to prioritize where do we spend this money. And I know we had plenty of time, maybe at least 3 years through 2026 to spend it.
One of the big, well, it's got to be appropriated by 24, but spent by 26, but there's going to be a lot of work behind us.
I'm just throwing it out
so
there. I'm not saying we should
yeah.
do it. I'm just thinking maybe it's an opportunity to start prioritizing it based on what the needs are for the various departments here in town, you know?
I'm thinking some of it is probably going to end up for the project behind us.
Yeah. So we maybe need to identify, earmark some of that before making it available to the other departments. Knowing how much, we gotta know how much we do need for the downtown revitalization. But yeah, I agree.
And then there was one other item on my list here, which was the Pfas litigation, similar to what happened with the opioid litigation, you know, a class action lawsuit against the manufacturers of the opioids. Similar litigations happening. Obviously, we don't have a treatment problem, but we have had some readings from time to time. One of them, Ryan talked about being a scare, and that number's never really shown up again, which caused us to shut that well down. And I think our former rep discussed it with you guys a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So talked to him the other day, Monday, and just wanted to see if you guys had any thoughts on joining that, participating in it against the manufacturers of PFAS chemicals.
You missed that presentation. Are you familiar with it?
So, I mean, it seems to me it would make sense to join,
There's a lot of towns in our area that are.
whether we get something out of it or
It's a contingency thing, so if,
Exactly.
you know, whatever happens, they get their piece, and then whatever goes to the town, similar to the opioid settlements, so.
just in case something comes up in the future here.
Right.
I'm thinking the same. I see upside to it. I don't see any downside.
So I don't have the paperwork to sign, but I'll get that from him and see what we need to do to enter into it.
I happen to agree with the two of them. I know you didn't ask, but that's okay.
Do you have an opinion, Madam Chair?
Apparently not. No, I thought it was a good idea when he actually came in and presented anyway, so I'm glad you're moving forward with that. Thank you. And back to finance and ARPA. We did, when they started talking about the ARPA funds coming in, we did say that we would reach out to different departments to see if there was anything specific that they wanted, needed, or otherwise desired, and then we would make a determination whether or not it happened. You know, now we've given some to the Sterling Light Department for the fiber project. We've done the
It's all at the bottom of the report, what we've approved right
but
now.
Yes, but I think general public
Yeah.
might want to know.
If you were reading off the list, I was assisting you.
I guess I want to be careful about the advice we would give out for the use of the ARPA money.
Right.
Because a lot of the ARPA guidelines are pretty earmarked in broadband, water, wastewater treatment, and revenue recovery, I guess is the broad category.
We chose the revenue recovery, so it opens up the uses a lot.
Yeah, and recreation is in there also, infrastructure, of course. They are.
Possibly.
No, they are.
I'll trust you. So
I'll
we,
tell you a funny story about how somebody kind of went around and thought that maybe we could work something into it, but recreation is in there. But also, I mean, we have the project, the drainage project on Sweat Hill, you know, for the lake, abatement, things like that. I mean, to me, those are huge, you know, for us to move forward with any lake renovation at all. So, I mean, if we could take some of that money and do that, and then you find money somewhere else.
agreed.
Well, because they'll come to, eventually, whatever anybody wants that doesn't come out of the ARPA funds are gonna come to capital and finance anyway and say, how about this? So, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. All right. Any questions for Bill?
No, a lot going on, Bill. Thanks for keeping us updated on a regular basis on it. Awful lot going on.
Yeah. David, anything for Bill?
Nothing for Bill.
I do have one more thing. Yahoo has asked permission to put signs pretty much everywhere. They're looking for volunteers. So the Yahoo, as you know, is the youth group that goes around and cleans up and helps out the seniors with their yards. And also, the senior center wanted us to remind everybody that there is a drive-through flu shot clinic at the Sterling Senior Center on Wednesday, October 12th from 8:30 to 11:30. It's by appointment only, so you need to call the senior center and make an appointment. They'll help you out if you need assistance because most of the registration, if not all, is online. So if there's a senior that needs help, call over to the senior center and somebody there will help you make an appointment for a flu shot as we move forward in this, the beginning of flu season. So, David, do you have anything to share?
I do. So as Bill mentioned, we did both attend the New England Public Works Expo. We set up in a job fair situation where we had 100 or so students come through. The towns of Sterling, Framingham, Marlborough, and Sudbury were represented, as well as several businesses, Caterpillar, who else was it? A couple of body outfitters, a couple of manufacturers.
Yeah,
Was there a financial institution was there also?
Yeah.
So it was quite productive. We got a few prospects. Waiting to hear back from them to try to get some of these kids employed on a co-op program.
Did Ryan go?
He did not make the job fair, but he went to the.
I was the
expo.
Sterling representative,
Right.
but he'd gone in the afternoon the day before.
Yeah. And it was by far the best expo that I've attended.
It was good.
Yeah,
It was nice to have it at
nice.
a better laid out location.
Yeah, it was very nice. And as Bill also mentioned, we did attend the chamber gathering, but I'll let John speak about that.
Thanks, David. Yes, we had the legislative gathering at the Choxet Inn. I think it was last Thursday. Very well attended. Pretty much politicians at all levels were there. People running for statewide office were there, for Secretary of State, I don't know, others. And well put on by the North Central Mass Chamber of Commerce. And I think the main sponsor was Mount Wachusett Community College. Bill was there, Dave, myself, those of us who weren't working. And No, it was very good. It was, they've had this for a number of years. I don't know, in the last couple of years with the pandemic, I don't think they did.
No, they did it last year.
Did they do it? Okay. I know you and I were there a couple of years ago, and they always get a good turnout.
Not together. Not together.
Yeah,
No, we weren't together.
separately, yeah. Yeah. So it's very good, and hopefully that continues. A good opportunity to network, talk to all the reps, and let them know what's going on in the town, and, you know, where we might need help, and hopefully they tell us where there is some maybe opportunities for us to seek some grant money, whatnot. The other thing, I did have a conversation with Mr. Doug Cameron at the Department of Fish and Game, and I'll share that with everybody at the next meeting. Well, I've shared it now. Basically, the door is still open for a potential boat ramp at Lake Washakum. I'm going to be talking to Mr. Mackey, Mr. Roberti, and see how they want to go about this before just saying no to it. I think there's still a good opportunity here, and I think, well, you know, I just want to promote it with economic development and the East Lake Washakum community committee first before getting back to Mr. Cameron. But he has offered to help and meet with the people involved and answer questions, probably by phone or Zoom meeting. But I don't think it's a drastic change as we go forward, but people have to know what it is, have their questions answered, etc. So Sterling Market's doing great. The farmers market's still going on. I went by on Friday, that's good. And Spooky Walk is coming up, so I can hopefully participate in that. I get some costumes that you wouldn't believe about. But that's it. That's it. I don't know if I forgot anything.
Kama, do you have anything for us? No. Nikki?
Nothing.
Mr. King?
May I take the podium?
Sure can. Where are you going to take it?
Let me take it away.
Have it back by Monday.
Good evening, Select Board. I'm Joseph King. I'm the Vice Chair of the Finance Committee and a member of the Capital Budget Committee. We held our joint Capital Budget and Finance Committee meeting last night. And one of the topics that came up that we wanted to bring to the Select Board for awareness was it was unanimous that everybody wanted to move away from a paper-based method of handing budget sheets and what have you around amongst each other for planning purposes. Everyone thought that it was more effective and useful if we were to modernize that and become a little more electronic in the transfer of those. In that discussion, we discussed bringing Bill into the loop on that as a copy on it. That way, Bill could have available if anyone wanted to have a paper copy available through the office. So they wanted me to bring that forth tonight for discussion. I'm not sure whether it needs Select Board approval or not, but it was a desire for awareness anyway that we bring that topic up.
So you've become environmental as well as financial.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
We had big blue binders last year.
Love those binders.
I didn't have one because I came in
Oh,
late.
this is why we're going to paper, because you didn't get a blue
I
binder?
didn't get one, and that's why. No, we had big blue binders, and everybody thought that they were quite ineffective, and they took a lot of time to prep those, evidently, and keep them up to date.
So what we talked about is keeping one of them for the record, you know, just to have a copy of everything and then do the majority of it digitally, so.
Well, a lot of it changed. I mean, you kept
Possibly.
having to switch out pages
Right.
because, oh, this changed or that changed, so.
You are correct. By the end of the year, every FinCom member said it was out of date because the updates weren't put in the book or whatever, it fell out of date. So it was pretty ineffective. So we thought that, yeah, we'd modernize it. To your point, we'll be a little more environmental because we're not using as much paper. But we did want to create awareness that we did want to modernize the process this year. We don't have everything worked out yet, but they wanted to create awareness.
I would guess that there'd be a go-to place for us to look at it. not coming in piecemeal. Right?
Yeah, they would get everything sent to them, but then there would be one binder that we can have all the stuff in, various versions and whatnot.
What are you gonna do with all those blue binders? Jeez. John?
Probably sell them in the market.
Such up a table.
You're gonna have to learn something new, but that's okay. It's probably the way to go.
John, you'll have to check your emails.
Right.
Yeah.
John, David's probably in the same boat, except that, his bride will help him out. I'm your gal, Joe.
All right,
I think it's a fine idea.
okay, great. Thank you very much. I'll yield the podium. Dave, any comment?
No, I just want to thank you for all the time and the effort you put into it. And I think it's a great idea because now information can be shared quickly rather than...
Yeah. We had a time lag because pretty much the dissemination of the new information waited for a meeting to come together to hand out. And then there was no think time associated with the document because you got it fresh and you had to look at it and understand it right away. So it makes a lot of sense.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Mr. Mackey?
Always good. Should welcome everybody to Art in the Park on Saturday, as well as the downtown merchants.
Take plenty of pictures. Can't go.
What time is Art in the Park start?
10 o'clock?
Thanks.
10?
It's a nice picture.
Yeah, that's for you to color.
10 o'clock. Out of the
10, right,
park.
Richard? 10. All right, anything else? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
John?
Seconded?
Any further discussion? With none,
Kilcoyne, aye.
Smith, aye.
Krantz and I. Takes a lot, doesn't it?
Doesn't take a lot. I'm stunned. It's the first meeting before an hour. Are you kidding?